Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Specifically for Coleman Hawkins. Coleman Hawkins was a guy that is among the most talented and skilled players that you're going to find in college basketball. He had some really high highs last season for Illinois. He had some fairly low lows, and he also managed to be the single greatest troll maybe in the history of college basketball. Love me some Coleman Hawkins. He's coming back to school, and he's probably going to get a pretty big bag that may include two commas. Jeff, how surprised were you that that he decided to withdraw from the draft? Because I think the smoke felt like it was kind of trending towards him keeping his name in early in the day.
Yeah, I was kind of texting with him throughout the day a little bit yesterday, and a lot of these guys, it's hard for them, and hopefully we'll have Coleman on to really go inside the process here, maybe as soon as tomorrow, but maybe probably next week instead. But I think it'll be interesting for a guy like Coleman, who again is so smart and articulate, and to be able to kind of give people an inside look to this process. And again, most of these kids go in of, hey, I'm in, all in, and then with NIL, they kind of realize, okay, you know what? Let me crunch the numbers. Let me talk to my agent. Here's what's on the table at the very, very end, because it's really, even for the agents, like, hey, go all in, focus on these workouts in the draft, and we'll worry about option B later if option A isn't there. So they put it all on the table for these guys at the very end, yesterday, maybe the day before, for a lot of them where it's close. And it's like, okay, two-way, here's what we're looking at for a two-way. Again, as I said earlier in the show, you're talking 500-600 grand maybe, but it's not guaranteed. Or here's what we're looking at right now from some of the schools out there. Maybe you're talking 1.5 million. Maybe we can get them up to 2 million. What do you want to do? And it's like, after taxes, here's what we're looking at. And I think, reality hits some of these kids at the very end that, hey, you know what? I may not make this money again. I hope to. I hope to get to the NBA, and I want to get to the NBA, especially these kids that have already been in college for 4 years. They want to check out and be done. But when they look at the disparity in the money, it's okay, you know what? I really should go back. I need somebody to tell me that, but I should go back to school.
Yeah, and the other part of it is, and we talked about this a little bit with Alex Caravan's decision, right? Is that when you are coming back to school, if you're making, even, let's just call it even money to what you could have made if you were on a two-way contract, right? If you're just making the same amount there, then you still have the opportunity to play your way into being a first round pick. And while it is nice to get even, these guys that are picked in the 30s, sometimes the early 40s will get like a 3-year contract with a year and a half guaranteed at the NBA minimum. That's still not what you're going to get if you're the number 30 pick, right? If you're the 30th pick in the draft and you're making, I believe it's like a little over 2 million a year guaranteed for 4 years, like that right there is much different than coming out and making $600,000 a year on a two-way where you got to go between the G League and the NBA. So if your option is make what you're making in the G League or on a two-way, or come back to school, make the same, maybe even a little bit more money, right? Instead of playing in the G League, you are taking charter flights everywhere. You're playing in the SEC or the Big Ten or the Big East. You're playing for UConn. You're playing for wherever Coleman Hawkins ends up, right? You're playing for an Arkansas program under John Calipari if you're Janelle Davis with the opportunity to kind of make a big run here, right? You're part of that Coach Cal family now. And not only that, but you also get to be the big man on campus in college again, where you are the celebrity in the college town that you're living in. Like there, even before NIL was a thing, like there were a lot of things that you could criticize about what was going on with the experience of a student athlete in college. Like being the best player on a great college basketball team in a college town, like that life is pretty good. So the idea that coming back to school to be able to experience that again, make more money, and then have a shot to be able to get yourself that 4-year guaranteed contract as a first round pick, like there's no downside to that. Like there's all upside there. To me, the downside kind of is, well, you know what? I'm locking myself into having to fight for an NBA contract, which is like what you got to do as a pro. But if you can do it for another year coming back to college, that feels like a good thing. So
You
guys
know,
like
you know what the
Uga
key is?
Poplar, Go ahead.
You know what the key is for these guys that are close, for these guys that are close and are going to be drafted in probably the 40s or 50s, is go to a spot certainly where you can make some money, and that is important, obviously. But go to a spot where they can get you to that point where you can hopefully be in the conversation for, like you're saying, for one of those spots at the end of the first round and get a guarantee for it'll be 2.3 million, I think, by the time they come out next year. So, like, if Coleman Hawkins can go to the right spot this year, right, get healthy, because one of the things that again wasn't talked about enough when you're talking about those highs and
His knee,
lows
yeah.
of this past season was because of his knee. He was playing with tendonitis most of the year, so he's got to shut it down now, I think, and get healthy for wherever he plays next season.
That's actually a really good point. It's there will be a tendency for some of these guys to chase the bag, right? Like, let's just say X school in the Big 12 is going to offer you $2 million, but some school in the SEC is going to offer you 1.2. And I'm just throwing numbers out here, just to throw them out there, 1.2. But you go to the SEC program, it's got a better pedigree, it's got a better way of getting players to the NBA. You could see a pipeline to being able to play the role that you will in the NBA. There's shots of it. Like, you got to find the right fit. Don't
I
the
mean, look at Cam
the money
Spencer.
that you make
Look
right
at Cam
now.
Spencer, right? Cam Spencer
Mhm.
is the ultimate example of this. If he stays at Rutgers, if he goes, I can't remember where else he was looking, UCLA or something like that before he chose UConn. I can't remember where it was, but there was an out west school. And if he goes to anywhere else, we're not even talking about Cam Spencer potentially making an NBA team, right? Like zero, I don't want to say zero, but close to zero chance. And now I think this guy's got a legitimate shot to make an NBA team. Why? He chose the right spot.
Yeah, and he went to a place where he was going to be the fifth guy with a lineup that was solidified with a pro and Stephen Castle coming in, which kind of played the same position, an All-American and Tristan Newton, who kind of played the same position, and a guy that was going to be a top 5, top 10 pick in Donovan Clingan. Like, you got to be able to bet on yourself, and you got to be able to find the play. Even if it costs you a little bit of money on the front end, you're going to make more on the back end as a result. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field 68 content.